There are some performers whose lives seem woven with a quiet, unshakable magic, a magic that is not loud, not boastful, but deeply human, deeply warm, and deeply rooted in the dignity of storytelling. Pauline Collins was that kind of artist. Her work was a testament to gentleness, intelligence, emotional clarity, and a rare ability to make the ordinary feel luminous. As the world now reflects on her passing, peacefully, at the age of 92, due to natural causes following a brief illness, audiences, colleagues, and admirers everywhere find themselves drawn back into the glow of her long and remarkable career. Her story was never just about fame. It was about craft, compassion, curiosity, and a lifelong devotion to understanding what makes people's hearts move. In remembering her, we aren't simply recalling the roles she played, but the way she made us see ourselves through them. Pauline Collins came from a generation of actors for whom discipline and heart were inseparable. Born in Exmouth, Devon, in 1940, she grew up in a post-war Britain reshaped by austerity but rich in imagination. Her early years were spent devouring books, observing people with a quiet fascination that would one day define her acting style. She trained as a teacher before performing professionally, an unlikely path that gave her a groundedness few actors possessed. The classroom shaped her understanding of human nature, teaching her patience, empathy, and the subtle mechanics of communication. When she eventually pivoted into acting, she carried all of that with her. It wasn't fame that she sought, it was connection, meaning, and the power of a story lived truthfully. From her earliest stage roles, it became clear that Pauline possessed a uniquely inviting presence. She could command attention without demanding it. Directors admired her stillness, that ability to say more with a glance than some performers could with entire monologues. Audiences admired something even rarer, an authenticity that felt impossible to fake. Whether she was portraying a weary mother, a woman in love for the first time, a dreamer trapped by circumstance, or a fighter unwilling to break, her performances always felt rooted in the real world. There was softness, yes, but beneath it, an iron resilience. She wasn't interested in archetypes, she was interested in people. Her first great television breakthrough, of course, came with Upstairs, Downstairs, where she played the joyful, spirited maid Sarah Moffat, a role that immediately endeared her to millions. Sarah was mischievous, romantic, ambitious, and vulnerable, a mix of contradictions that mirrored the complexity of working-class women whose stories had rarely been given the spotlight. Pauline approached the role not as comic relief or caricature, but as a fully realized woman with desires and dreams of her own. It was that integrity that made Sarah unforgettable and elevated the show beyond its social melodrama. Audiences still speak of her portrayal as one of the most charming and human performances of the era. It was a beginning, but not a peak, because Pauline Collins was not an artist who peaked early. She grew, deepened, and expanded with every passing year. Nothing, however, would define her legacy more than Shirley Valentine, a role that became inseparable from her name. It was an extraordinary convergence of performer and material, the kind of pairing that happens only a handful of times in the world of theater and film. As Shirley, Collins portrayed an ordinary Liverpool housewife who rediscovers her zest for life on a spontaneous trip to Greece. But the story's brilliance lay not just in its humor or its romantic plot, but in its emotional intimacy. Shirley spoke directly to the audience, sharing her doubts, her disappointments, her longings, and her rediscovered courage. Pauline embodied her with a gentleness that made audiences feel like they were listening to a dear friend rather than watching a performance. Her ability to break the fourth wall without breaking the illusion was breathtaking. She won the Olivier Award, the Tony Award, and eventually received an Academy Award nomination for the film adaptation, a rare trifecta that cemented her as one of the great actresses of her generation. But even then, with global acclaim at her feet, she carried herself with the same grounded sincerity she always had. She never played the diva nor sought the spotlight. Instead, she treated fame as a byproduct of work done well, not a prize to be celebrated for its own sake. In later years, Pauline continued to grace television, film, and stage with performances that were textured, thoughtful, and deeply human. She had an uncanny ability to communicate tenderness without sentimentality. In dramas, she brought warmth. In comedies, she brought wisdom. In every role, she brought truth. Whether she appeared in intimate British dramas, sweeping period pieces, or small cameo roles that lasted mere minutes, she left an imprint. Even her quieter roles, the ones not highlighted by awards or headlines, carried a depth that revealed her lifelong dedication to the craft. She believed that no character was too small and no story insignificant if it could illuminate something essential about life. Her personal life was equally rich, shaped by love, motherhood, spiritual curiosity, and a deep appreciation for the world beyond the stage. Pauline Collins was married to actor John Alderton, with whom she shared not only decades of companionship but also numerous artistic collaborations. Their partnership was one of British theatre's most enduring and endearing unions. Two performers who respected each other, challenged each other, and found joy in working side by side. Together, they raised a family and built a life rooted in mutual admiration and shared artistic passion. Pauline's kindness was legendary among those who worked with her. Young actors often described her as a reassuring presence, someone who treated newcomers with the same respect she offered seasoned veterans. She believed in generosity, in giving others their space to shine. She carried no arrogance, no sense of superiority. In green rooms and rehearsals, she was the one asking people about their families, offering thoughtful advice, or simply sitting quietly, absorbing the energy of the room with serenity. To her colleagues, she was a mentor. To her friends, she was a confidant. To her family, she was the warm, wise center of their world. Her later years were filled with a sense of peaceful reflection. Though she gradually eased away from the intensity of long filming schedules, she never fully walked away from storytelling. Instead, she channeled her energy into writing, charity work, and appearing selectively in the roles that spoke to her soul. She valued quality over quantity, preferring roles that allowed her to explore aging, memory, and identity with the same nuance that had defined her earlier work. She believed deeply that older women had stories worth telling, and she insisted on portraying them with honesty, dignity, and emotional richness. As she entered her 90s, Pauline's health began to decline, but she remained surrounded by love, comfort, and quiet joy. She passed away peacefully at home, following a brief illness, with her family beside her. There was no drama, no suffering, no fear, only a gentle closing of a long and beautifully lived life. Those who knew her say that even in her final days, she had a calm glow about her, a softness in her eyes that suggested gratitude rather than regret. She had given the world everything she wished to give. She had lived fully, loved deeply, and created art that would outlive her by generations. Her passing prompted an outpouring of tributes from around the world. Actors young and old spoke of her as a guiding light. Directors recalled her precision, her humility, and her willingness to try anything if it served the story. Fans shared memories of how Shirley Valentine or Upstairs, Downstairs, or any number of her other works had shaped their lives. Many credited her with helping them feel seen, understood, or uplifted at moments when they felt invisible. Her storytelling touched millions, often in ways she never knew. That is the quiet power of artists like Pauline Collins. They plant seeds of humanity that continue to bloom long after they're gone. As we reflect on her fictional passing, we also reflect on a legacy built not on spectacle, but on sincerity. Pauline's artistry reminds us that the greatest performers are not always the loudest or the most glamorous. Sometimes they are the ones who speak softly but leave echoes that last forever. She showed us that storytelling is a form of compassion, that acting can be an act of service, a way of helping people feel less alone. Her career was a testament to patience, perseverance, and deep emotional intelligence. She never needed to chase relevance. She earned timelessness. Her life stands as a reminder that greatness does not require grandiosity. It requires honesty. It requires vulnerability. It requires the willingness to look into the human heart and illuminate its beauty and complexity. Pauline Collins did that for more than 6 decades. She gave the world characters who breathed, laughed, hurt, hoped, and dreamed. She gave us stories that resonated with authenticity. She gave us herself, wholeheartedly, courageously, and without reservation. Though this tribute imagines a world beyond her earthly years, what remains undeniably real is the profound impact she made. Her work continues to inspire, her legacy continues to glow, and her spirit, warm, wise, and endlessly compassionate, continues to live on in every scene she left behind. Pauline Collins will always be remembered not just as an actress, but as a storyteller of extraordinary depth, a woman of immense grace, and a soul who reminded us all of the quiet power of humanity.